In this video, I'm going to be making some creamy stovetop macaroni and cheese. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that bell for notification when new videos are posted. Thank you. Start out by putting a pot of water on high to boil, adding a little salt. Next up, I'm going to measure out the macaroni, and I like to use a scale. The recipe calls for 8 ounces, so try to get as close as I can here. If you don't have a scale, that would be about 2 cups of macaroni. Okay, so the water's boiling nicely, so I'll add in the pasta, and I'll turn the heat down a little bit. Just want a nice little rolling boil, not too big of a boil, and give it a nice little stir there. Alright, next thing we can do while the pasta is cooking is grate the cheese. Recipe calls for 10 ounces of sharp cheddar. And that's what I've got here, sharp cheddar. Of course, you can use any kind of cheese you like. I like to make this also with pepper jack. That's a nice little change. Now, I don't recommend using the pre-shredded cheese. It doesn't change the flavor, but it's not as smooth. It makes it kind of grainy. Now, this recipe doesn't use a roux-based cheese sauce or something like American or Velveeta cheese. It uses a milk and egg-based sauce, which is basically a custard. And the milk is evaporated milk, and not condensed milk, which has sugar in it. We want to use evaporated milk. Evaporated milk is a little thicker and has more protein than regular milk or cream, and it helps to thicken and emulsify the sauce. The macaroni's been cooking for about 9 minutes now, so I'm going to check it and see if it's done. Of course, you just want to cook it to package direction and then to the doneness that you like. So I think that's good, so I'm going to turn the heat off and drain the noodles. And you don't want to rinse the noodles here. You want to leave what starch is left on there so that the cheese sauce sticks better. And then I'm just going to leave the noodles draining in the sink while we start the sauce. First off, I'll drop the butter into the pan is still hot, so we'll melt the butter in there while I mix up the base for the sauce. Start off with our evaporated milk, then we'll add in our eggs. A little bit of hot sauce, using some sriracha here, some salt and pepper. And then another key ingredient is the dried mustard. And that not only adds to the flavor, but it helps with the emulsification as well. Now we want to mix up this up really good. We want to get those eggs well mixed in there. We don't want any chunks of egg or anything in there. We'll get that in our pan, and we're going to bring the heat up to like medium low. We want to heat this up slowly because we don't want to cook those eggs too fast. We don't want them to curdle and become scrambled eggs in there. So heat that up slowly and use the whisk to stir it around while it's coming up to temperature. And once it's fairly warm and you think it'll melt the cheese, it's time to start adding the cheese. You just want to drop this in handfuls and then stir it in, let the cheese melt and dissolve into the sauce. Just keep doing that. If you add it all at once, you'll just get a big clump, and it'll be hard to get it to mix and melt into the sauce. And it doesn't really take very long. We're just going to stir that till it's pretty well mixed up. Nice and creamy. You can see we got a nice creamy sauce there. And then I'll come in with the whisk again and just make sure there's no lumps. Alright. And I'll come in with our pasta that was sitting in the sink. And all we got to do is mix it up good. And after I get it mixed up, I like to let it set for a few minutes, so the cheese sauce kind of like ooze into the macaroni. Okay, so at this point it's set for a couple of minutes. We'll just stir it up again. There we go, nice and creamy. And you want to serve this pretty quick after you make it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell to be notified when new videos are posted.